Good morning, happy Sunday. Somebody in the comments asked for a video so that they could see how I manage all of my bobbins for this clasped weft towel that I'm working on. And so I thought I would do 2 or 3 videos. This one is an explainer video, so if you don't want to hear me talking, skip to the next one, which is just me weaving a couple of picks so that you can see how I do it. But for somebody who's not used to clasped weft, I thought maybe a little bit of commentary would be interesting or helpful. So first of all, this is threading that comes from Jane Stafford in her season 2. So I consider myself to be sort of an advanced beginner weaver. So I'm on season 2 of Jane Stafford. I've been weaving since 2020. So I guess we're into 5 years now. Yeah, I liked this threading in these colors. So this is the last towel on this warp, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. I have some ideas for clasped weft and thought this would be a good opportunity to practice. So this is a practice piece for me. And I am trying to keep each particular column in a more intense color. So I've got 7 bobbins, and the 2 edge ones are actually on shuttles, and I just put them on the castle of my loom, and as long as the bobbins turn freely in the shuttles, then you'll get this, hanging down, and you can catch it at the edges. So that keeps them out of the way, and we don't have to worry too much about them. Um, so for everything else, the idea of clasped weft is obviously that you get 2 different colors and then they hook in the middle. So you've got to come up through the web at some point when you get more than 2 colors. You've got to have the different colors have to come through at some point that isn't at the edges. And so I've made some choices about where my threads come up. I choose not to come up where the colors meet because I find that it's hard to get the clasp and tension that you want, and the edges get rougher than they would otherwise be. So I choose to come up mid-column at some point. And for this white, I've chosen to come up in the center of the white stripe. And that, I think, visually disguises the little bit of zigzag that you get from changing sheds when you are mid fabric. So for this white one, I've chosen to come up in the middle of the white stripe. For the yellows, I've chosen to come up at the border of the yellow stripe and the white stripe because I feel like, again, visually, the zigzag fades a bit because of the color change. Your eye just doesn't focus on the zigzag as much. Thanks me. So, and then, yeah, so that's the choice I made for that. Now, when I work from right to left and then back left to right. So it's kind of a circle. I'm going to start with the right hand side, the yellow, and bring it toward the left. And part of efficiency, and this is a very slow process with this many colors, so part of my quote efficiency is to do the same process with every single pick. And that helps me not get confused, and also if I get called away for something, it helps me pick up where I left off when I get back. So we start with the right, and it's this shed, and I always check that I'm in the right shed. So I'm switching sheds at this point, and my yellow is going to come to this edge. and it goes down again between the yellow and the blue stripes. And I do that consistently. And then I get my tails out of the way. I give it a little dome because just like any other weaving, you've got your take up you have to account for so you don't get weird tension in the middle of your columns. The blue is coming to the edge of this yellow stripe and this blue thread, and I am going to put it down here between these two, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So sometimes it's hard to, like, this is easy because of the color difference. Sometimes it's hard when you've got an uneven thread count. This is like 3 and 1, 3 and 1, 2 and 1 maybe. And so I count them from the edge. This is 4. Pull it through with my little dome. And you'll notice that it doesn't start at the edge. So at this point, I've really only woven for each of these. I'm really only weaving a portion of the column. So the thread path is going to be from this entry point to the left edge, back to the right edge, and then back to the entry point or the exit point. It becomes. And that's, again, giving me the tension on the clasps that I want, that I think looks better. Your mileage may vary. So the white, again, goes down through the middle of that white stripe, domes over to the edge. Blue, and this one I think is 4 there, and goes through here. Now this yellow, I'm bringing down through the middle between the yellow stripe and this white stripe, which means I'm really only weaving this little edge. And that one's going to go all the way out through my edge, again with a dome. And at this point, I beat. I go back through and I double check the tension, because sometimes if you get too much of a dome, you get little bumps at the edge. So just kind of make sure that it all looks relatively smooth. And now I'm going to go back in the other direction, to the right. So I catch my blue. I'm actually going to catch it this way. So I catch the blue on the edge, and now I'm going to bring this all the way back across to the right-hand edge of the yellow stripe. This is where we get to see the fun claspy bit as it moves across. And one of the reasons that I beat initially is that because of the take up, it can be hard to get your clasp in a pattern like this where I want the clasps very definitely on a line. It can be hard to do that if you don't beat the initial pass because of the take up, right? So both edges takes up and it moves the clasp one way or the other. I play with it a little bit and you'll see what I mean. So I beat, and then if it doesn't come out really where I want it to, I can tighten it. And it gets more exact because of the beating, I find. So that looks more or less in line. Just this pass of the weft runs just under the yellow warp thread. So I'm happy enough with that. So now I've got to go back and do the remainder of this column because it's clasped weft, it's 2 threads to each pick. So at this point I've got this little column and then 1 thread back. So now I've got to do the thread back here. For consistency, I'm taking the left shuttle bobbin, the left bobbin under the right bobbin. And I'm going to do that all the way across the same way. So that is going to help me get a consistency to the way my clasps look running down the length of the column. And it also, again, helps me remember what it is that I'm doing. And I don't beat yet. I pass the blue bobbin under the into its blue column all the way to the edge. And I tend to check, you know, that your clasp hasn't caught a thread that you don't want it to catch, and it moves freely. And then I beat and kind of double check. And this little white one is a little bit weird, so I'm gonna tug the yellow back a bit to make sure that the blue is overlapping the white thread, and then beat it into place. And then we repeat that. The blue goes under the white. And this one was 4 threads. So I'm just gonna count 4 here. If I can count 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna come up there. And then the white is gonna go to the edge of this yellow stripe. I beat that and check it to see. I like it. Adjust it a bit. If you need to adjust it, I tug up so that you get a little bit more slack, right? So you're not pulling straight across because you still have to allow for the take up. So I nudge it just a little bit and I beat it back in place. White goes under the blue, comes back to the center point. And then the blue comes all the way to the edge of this stripe. Same deal, and I'll count out 4 here. And then this yellow, I am going to go ahead and come up on the right-hand side of the yellow column. I'm gonna go ahead and beat this into place. You can see I've got kind of a lump there, so it's not tight enough for my taste. So beat it again. Now we go all the way to the end. Come out the right edge. I'm going to come back. We're going to catch the blue thread hanging down and come back. And this color actually comes out on the left-hand side of the yellow stripe. I've got too much extra hanging out over here. Okay, we pull that blue back to roughly where we want it. And beat again. And then adjust. And you can see that because of the take up on the blue, it pulled a little bit to the right. So I'm going to adjust that back. Okay, so there is one pick. Change sheds. I don't know if you can see it, but my cable on my brake broke. And I'm also at the end of this warp, so someone has gone weird with my tension on this, but we'll just do another back and forth. So again, starting on the right with the orange, which is where I left off. Thank you, everybody, for your interest. I hope this was helpful for you.